Yeah, my voice is way better than last time. Okay, so I guess let's everybody just take a nice deep breath. Take another deep breath. Allow your minds just to calm down a little bit with what's been going on today in whatever way that might have been. Just kind of let the thoughts float away like clouds. And as you do, begin to feel with your breath, as you breathe deeply, a softening within your own body, a gentleness that might be there. Allow yourself to open up to that. Allow yourself to relax into it, but only so much as to be alert, to be aware. Becoming aware of the cells in your body as they open up to receive any messages, any thoughts, feelings, vibrations, and frequencies that will be coming through. Welcome once again to everyone that could be listening to this right now in this moment, and those that will be listening to this in some future opportunity. Today, we wish to share something with you that we all know you have experience with and have heard about, and that is silence. We want to speak directly about silence, the properties of silence, the purity of silence, the gifts that lead to you from silence. There is that opening within the universe, this what you might appear to see as a dark hole or a black hole, as you've heard before. And within those dark holes, in those deep, deep set valleys of information, there lies the information, the infinite understandings of all things. And to understand that within your own body, your own physical cloak, if you will, within that body, within the heart space itself, is that same dark hole, is that opportunity to go deep and deep and deep into the silence, to bring forward for yourself a knowing, maybe an understanding, but it's more of a deep knowing of whatever questions you might have. When you are in this place, truly, truly, 100% surrounded by the silence, you might say there is no need for knowing because knowing is so present. It is there instantaneously, almost as if you don't have to ask the question. Just the thought that comes from the heart space actually into your brain answers it instantaneously. Now, some of you have experienced this, of course, from your intuition. Unfortunately, you don't listen to it. And many of you are probably smiling right now, as if you didn't think we didn't know that. Your own self, which is your lower self, tries to hide that intuition from you. It tries to hide that knowing. It tries to hide the fact that you already carry within you the opportunity to know all things instantaneously as you walk your walk. But of course, as you're walking your walk, you're bombarded by all kinds of situations, people, opportunities, distractions, which take you out of that silence because you give yourself away to what's outside of you. So it is a very, very difficult walk, as you know. But that doesn't stop the intuition from showing up there for you. And as you all know, you've heard this before and you've experienced this who knows how many times, that when you listen to your intuition, it seems to work pretty well. But for most, you don't listen to your intuition, and it seems to come back to you later and saying, I wish I would have fill in the blank. And that wish I would have was a feeling, which then tells you that it is of the heart. The feeling is never of the mind. It is always of the heart. This is why we've talked over and over again, and many masters and many mystery schools have presented to you that the heart is the center of all things within. To work steadfastly in releasing those boundaries that have been created by the ego that you carry, the mind that wants to be in control, to finally break away as much as you can, that wall that's been created, to allow the heart to be your intuitive guide. Now, Tomei has presented to you many times just the simple principle of getting to 50.1% of allowing the heart to be the director. Once that takes place, the intuitive guide becomes more prevalent. It becomes more aware. It also allows your senses to become acute, and not just your 5 senses, but your 6th and 7th sense as well. The work has to be done in those regards, though, to break down the walls that surround the heart that you've created. They weren't given to you in some respect. You weren't born with them. You were pure when you were born. Your soul was pure when you came into a physical body. It's as soon as that act took place is when the journey began to create dualism within your own physical body, in your mind, in your feeling aspects, in your senses, in every aspect of being a physical human being on this dualistic planet. It continued on and on until one day, hopefully, you came to a place to recognize the fact that things were not working out so well for yourself. Things that were happening outside of you didn't seem to be in a flow of some kind. There was a resistance, a judgment that was taking place more and more. This takes you out of the silence. Many of you realize this. When the mind takes over, there seems to be quite a bit of chaos in whatever form it might be. Thinking this, thinking that, knowing this, knowing that. This is right, this is wrong. When you're in the silence, when you're in the heart, there is no right, there is no wrong. There just is. When the silence can be more prevalent, there seems to be more balance. There seems to be more opportunity, more clarity that shows up. The reason we're bringing this to you so strongly today is that with the energies that have come down in this last couple of years, especially in this last 6 months, there's been many, many gamma waves coming down to disrupt your neurological patterns in your minds. For some of you, for some of the old souls, it has really complemented the journey you've been on. It's not to say that it was easy, but yet it's assisted you to break down any final walls that were around the heart space, any final walls that distracted you, that brought you into judgment. They became so obvious to you so quickly, you began to judge yourself. Why am I doing this again? Why am I allowing this to happen again? But what it showed you was that you became aware of it much quicker. You became aware of it almost instantaneously. It might have sent a shock wave of feeling through your system, not just your physical, but your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your physical system. It is now affecting all of the old souls in a combination of all four bodies, not just one or two. It is time to begin to meld those four bodies in a higher frequency. And it takes a lot of understanding, knowing, and work to allow yourself to take yourself to this place, because it is still a choice. There's a lot of density that still lies within each one of those bodies, for instance, that you might feel, and you feel the heaviness of those situations. But also notice that as that heaviness has become so profound to you, it's almost as if you have to let it go, where others who are not at the place that you're at are still holding on to things for a long period of time. You can begin to see the mirrors much more prevalent around you, which you could call synchronicities, if you will, but they are mirrors for you to see what is left. What do you still carry? Some of it can feel pretty disastrous. Some of it can feel very emotional in the emotional body, or it can be a mental situation where you cannot figure things out. It could also be a physical thing where your body is being torn asunder. You can feel various things that go wrong and you don't understand why. Even if you've kept yourself in a great place of balance within your physical capacity, but still within that physical body, you are holding things in various parts of your body. Could be organs, just cellular structure. It could be just a system in your neurology. It could be part of your nervous system. It could be any number of things that you're still holding on to, which surprises you. But when you can heal those situations, they will be let go of very quickly. They will dissolve very quickly. We have told you that we will show up in 2 months. We will be here. We will be with all of you, some of which the workshop will be recorded, and some will be able to feel the energies that you all create with us, and will feel the density lift within themselves because of the work that you're doing, not only individually, but as a group. So understand, with the new waves of gamma waves coming in through the sun, and there was just a huge explosion on the sun not too long ago. So more is coming, more is going to hit the planet, but all of it is there to support you in your journey, support the earth in its own journey, so that things can start moving, let's just say, at a faster pace. Things are changing rapidly. The extremes are still becoming more extreme. And so because of this, you must be able to rise above it all. You must be able to see it and be with it without judgment. And this can be a very difficult process, of course, because the ego still has to be right or ego still has to be wrong. Depends on what you have created for yourself. What do you hold on to that is keeping your heart from being the true self, the higher S self that you truly are? What is holding you back? You're the only one that knows this. We can only say from an overall aspect that there's still much work to be done for everyone. Moving into the sixth dimension, moving into the fifth dimension, moving into the different root races that you have heard about before. All this is a preparation to go into a pure duality. You've heard this before. Tomei has mentioned this in many workshops ago. He discussed what is available that is coming. And it's not that duality is going to go away, but there is going to be a pure duality, which means there's no judgment on either side of duality. It just is the way it is. And to be able to experience it that way with no judgment brings much more clarity and a higher frequency to all things, to all situations, to all relationships, to the way you relate not only to other people, but to the planet itself, to the universe itself, to the solar system, to all things. You will see things so much differently than the way you see them now, because you will be using all aspects of your energetic body along with your emotional body, your mental body, your physical body, and your spiritual body. So now we are talking about 5 bodies, not just 4. Some of you will once thought that the spiritual body was the energetic body. The spiritual body is a raising of the vibrations of the 3 other bodies, the mental, the physical, and the emotional, to the state where they are more pure, they are more open, they are more in a place of flow, which provides then a spiritual, if you will, aspect to it all. The energetic body has always been there. So if you can look at this as a understanding or a knowing that the energetic body was always a part of you. The spiritual body is something that you create, just as you created the ego, you created by allowing yourself to bring balance to the 3 other bodies, which brings you a wholeness, a balance within yourself. Imagine, if you will, 2 months from now, that you can have but even just a few minutes of that. Just a few minutes of that balance between all your bodies, which brings all the bodies into a healing aspect, because the cellular structures, for instance, the emotional situations in your body, the mental aspects all become balanced in a beautiful flow of energy, if you will, that is the benevolence of what it was that you were when you were, before you walked into the body that you came into this planet with. Even just to feel that for a few minutes of your time will help you have the knowing that it's possible, that you already carry that with you. Once that has taken place, it's instantaneously available for you to understand the knowing of pure duality, how everything functions in the universe, how everything functions in the cosmos, in such a perfect dance, in such a beauty. Whether it be dark or light, it has no judgment. It dances together in perfect synchronicity. You see it in the symbol of your yin-yang symbol. It's a perfect symbol of balance and synchronicity. But what we're asking for you to open up to is the feeling of that. For it cannot be a definition, as you know, because that is a limitation. It must be an experiential process. We will assist you in whatever way we can to let that happen through the channels that will take place that weekend, through the meditations which will be channeled that weekend, through many ascended masters who will be presented to you, either through some of your earthbound, let's say, YouTubes and various music and discussions that might take place in some of your media, which we can work through to present those ideas to you to help you feel them inside. But the biggest aspect for that weekend, and continues to be, is your own open heart, your ability to accept and to feel what is coming your way. Acceptance is a very difficult process for the ego. For the acceptance that the ego and the mind wish to have is a very limited acceptance, of course, because it has to be in the definition and the understandings of being right. One of the greatest virtues that any one of you still carries with you, but hasn't been so developed, is humility. In humility, there is no right and wrong. There just is. It's one of the greatest virtues that a master can develop from within themselves. From that humility, the heart functions at a very, very high frequency. The heart does not look outside itself at all. It knows within itself that all things are possible. And all things are possible for the best of all, for the best of the cosmos. Some in the spiritual community have even tried to define the best of all, which they look at as the best for all humanity. And you can see how limited that is. It is the best for all the cosmos, for all beings everywhere, for all functions of the cosmos everywhere, for balance everywhere, for pure duality everywhere. Once again, to just experience that opportunity for a few minutes will bring that pure duality feeling and experience into your systems, all of them. It is what you carry already, and when you feel it, you will identify with it, if you will, instantaneously. For when you came down as a soul, you were already there. You are just remembering what you already carry. The greatest wall to all of this, of course, is your mind. For in your mind, doubt resides. You carry much doubt within your mind. There is no doubt in your heart. But the mind has to have some kind of verification to know anything is real. We don't mind providing that for you as long as you take that verification and use it for the best of all. You use it to clarify your own beingness. You allow it to present itself to you to open up your heart even more. You all know what the deep densities feel like. You know how they attach themselves to you. And what's funny is you look at it as if they are attaching themselves to you. Of course, you know the next statement. You're the one choosing to allow them to attach themselves to you. You are the master. You choose what it is you wish to learn and which you wish to discern. So you allow all those densities to attach themselves to you. And in some cases, it's a new learning, it's a new lesson. And in other cases, it's the same lesson over and over and over again. We do not get involved in changing the choices that you make. We only get involved into trying to help you wake up to the choices that you're making, even if you continue to make the same choice. So it's time to rise up, if you will. It's time for you to look at yourself in the mirror and realize and open yourself up to the true mastership of what you hold. In that weekend that will be coming up, that's a big part of what's going to happen. With all the books that you've read, all the situations that you have taken on, the opportunities that you presented to yourself, all the past learnings, hopefully will come full circle for you that weekend in some capacity. It doesn't mean that that'll be the end of the work by any means. For as you know, you are still here. You're still in duality. There is more to learn. There is more to share. But what we will say to you, that the sooner you can rise up to that 50.1%, you now become a true server. You not only serve yourself, but the way you walk, the energies that you carry. Your heart is out in front of you, if you will, no matter where you go. There does not have to be any words to be spoken, although there might be. But just to carry your heart in such a way to establish that energy field, if you will, wherever you walk, is assisting those who are in that community, for instance, or in that place. Just a smile that you give to somebody. To walk in that area of nature, to identify with it, to connect with it, to see it differently than you saw before, to look at a tree and not label it as a tree, but see it as an energetic field. Some of you have experienced that before. You actually hear and sense and feel and see the buzzing that's going on in the vibrations that's holding the tree together. This is a time of springtime throughout the country here, but it's also a time of springtime throughout the world in some capacity. And as that takes place, there's a budding that takes place. Things begin to open. The next time you come upon a tree that is just beginning to open and the leaves are just beginning to bud, they're at a very early stage, we suggest to you to walk up to just one single tiny branch that might have maybe 25 little leaves on it and begin to look at each leaf. What we will suggest to you that as you look at each leaf, you would in the past think they all look the same, but each one has a different characteristic to it, a different feel to it, a different look to it, even a different color, even though it's still green as the other ones. Can you see this as your individual souls on this planet? Can you see that it's time to start budding, and that each one of you has a specific gift and a beauty that you can bring to wherever you go? Will you allow yourself to open up and bud? Or are you too scared? Do you let doubt, do you let fear stop you from becoming the true master that you are? Because you just wish to fit in, that you're too scared to make any waves of any kind. Some of you have gone the opposite direction. You can't wait to make waves. You can't wait to rebel. You don't want to be the same anymore. You don't want to be, as they say, normal. You want to open up to yourself. There's an excitement there. It's starting to stir. You can feel it in the springtime. In the fall, things slow down. You go in, you start learning what you have to do to go inward even deeper. So things become more silent. In the spring, things become to open up. We invite you to go deeper all the time. We invite you to have every season that you might have on your planet show up on a daily basis for yourself. What season are you in right now? Are you in wintertime, trying to keep yourself warm, eating a little bit more food? Are you in the springtime, opening up, allowing yourself to bring in the fresh air, to let the sunshine hit you, to let it change you in whatever way that is, allowing your cells to finally come out and dance with the rest of the universe in the benevolent ways that it can? You will learn more about that in 2 months as well. You will learn what you really carry in your benevolent self, what's waiting for you to explore. You've known some of this all along, but at this point, you will begin to finally feel it deeply, because your hearts will be open more than ever before. It is time. We've been saying this for a while now. It is time. The shift is upon you. It's going faster. It isn't going backwards. It's only moving outwards from within. There is no worry. There's only worry in your mind. There is no worry in the shift. There is no worry in the heart. What will happen to this person? What will happen to that person? How is everything going to look? What changes are going to take place? When you're in the heart, when you're in the silence, when you're in the all-knowing of the cosmos, there isn't any worry. You know there's a complete trust of what is available. The trust surrounds you in an energetic envelope of beauty, of humility, of compassion, of grace, of dignity, of integrity, all these incredible virtues that are always there for you to experience. Is now time to envelop yourself with. Silence. Silence isn't quiet. That's a definition. Silence is a presence. It's a beingness. A beingness in any single moment of your time. It is both loud and quiet. It is both hard and soft. It is pure. It is pure duality. To experience that, one only has to go deeply into the heart space and experience the infinite awe of what you carry. Allow yourself to take a few deep breaths. Feel your body once again. Feel the energy in your body. Slowly, slowly work your way back. Feeling where you're at, maybe sitting or laying down or whatever it might be. Maybe move a few body parts just to bring you back to being a little bit more grounded. Everybody back? You fall asleep?
You
It's
not followed.
okay. You remember humility. Well, that's the point. That's all you need to have right there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to speak first? Because I really don't, believe it or not. um, you guys want to say something? If you do, come on over here so they can hear you, if you don't mind. Okay, well, I'm just going to say that it was really strong for me. The energy coming through was really, really powerful. Um, I loved all of it. I loved everything they had to say. It's really, some of it we've heard before, but the way it was said, I guess, or the feeling of it was just so different. The bringing in of the seasons, I thought, was really, really beautiful. Oh my gosh, it just, what season are you in right now, kind of a thing. Like, and it can be a daily basis, obviously. It just a beautiful way of bringing nature together with us and seeing how we're adapting to it and it's adapting to us too. That was really, really beautiful. That's the only thing I remember right now. So I open the floor once again.
Yeah, I liked all the connection with nature analogies and the budding, looking at all the different buds and how each one is different, just like each one of our souls is different and unique. It was cool. And I also like that they use the word dance a lot. is how everything's going together. That just resonated with me. They mentioned the now 5 bodies that we're
Yeah,
working
yeah.
with, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. What is the 5th one? Energetic?
It's your energetic body, yeah.
Okay. That's what
Which that was really cool. I never looked at it that way at all. But it made once they finished explaining it, it made total sense, actually.
Mhm.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Didn't interrupt.
No, that's all I had to say. I loved it. And I'm excited about August from all the things they said.
Yeah. People are moving.
I loved it too. And I also loved silence being a presence. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, the silence and the presence are the way to radiate one's essence. And it was perfect timing for me today, based on everything I'm going through and the growth that's happening and the shifts that are happening. So thank you. Great gratitude.
Thanks for being here. Thank you guys. Sorry, you got to get up, man. I'm just as sore as you are, so no excuse. Rick's coming on over to give us some of his wisdom.
Yeah, not a lot of wisdom.
Straight into it.
Oh, gosh. Again, going into the heart, and then it was separating that heart and mind. That's something that you have talked about. I know a lot. And I thought that was kind of brought things back from the past. And then I agree with the last 2 comments on silence as a presence. That was pretty interesting, to the way that was put at the end. But yeah, tying everything together. That was a pretty powerful time. Just taking it all in. But I that whole idea of being in the heart again, pretty strong. Kind of keeps you grounded, I think. So anyway, that was.
Thank you. I'm not going to move back if you guys are going to come over. So would you like to?
I'm having a hard time formulating this thought, but they talked a lot about, well, first about intuition and following your intuition. And then they also talked about when you're in your heart 50.1% of the time or more, that there is no doubt in the heart. And so I'm struggling a little bit with everything that's happened over the last couple of days with Tomei getting hacked and my ongoing mistrust of everything. And so how, and maybe you have something more you could say about this, but how can you be in your heart and come from your heart, but still be able to have that radar for when you shouldn't trust somebody, because you want to trust people. That's just the way you want to live. But you want to be able to know if somebody is trying to steal from you, or whether it's taking money or energy or your soul or whatever they're trying to steal from you. So how can you be in your heart where there is no doubt, but still not just get totally obliterated by all the evil things that are out there? And that sounds really negative, and I don't mean it to be, I don't mean to sound negative, but just with everything that's happened, like how can I go out with a better feeling of that's, can you say anything more about
Yeah, I
that?
can.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Wow, that's quite a question, huh? Because I think we're all faced in some respect with that kind of situation, and could be, constant, not necessarily every day, but, we live life down here, and life down here presents challenges to us on a daily basis, whether it be strong or light, if you want to look at it that way, energetically. The trust that I can only answer the question based upon how I walked through this recently, and it really it took me out. I want to say that it was so strong, and I'm sharing something with you that I can't even almost believe in some respect. It was so strong that when I weighed myself the next morning, I had lost 2 pounds. And I hadn't done anything. I hadn't gone out and done, like an 80-mile run or something. I actually released 2 pounds of energy out of my system. I can verify it for you, that is best by just saying it. And it was somewhat of a shock to me, but I also realized that walking through what happened to me put everything on the line as far as trust was concerned for me. And to have somebody do what they did to me, because of my own ignorance of not understanding the world the way it is, I had to step back in some respect after walking through the emotions of it, the journey of it. And I think I wrote a text to Lisa the next morning, actually, and I said, I'm not allowing it to disturb the trust that I have in all things. That's what I came to. As strong as all that was in how it all happened, there was an allowance that I did, that I chose to let it happen. And it was through ignorance for sure, but there was an allowance for all that to take place, and it was my choice. It was still my choice. So how do you come back from that is, I think, a little bit of a journey in some respect, and saying, in the end, I know they have my back. And I know that because I started choosing to work my way back, basically. I started to see what are the functions that I have to do to find balance back in my life, as far as this was more financial, of course, this was more energetic. How do I start making choices to bring the trust back that I know is there? And the way it developed, even this morning, was that the individuals that became involved in my journey to come back were all there to serve me in some capacity, and do it in a way that, I don't know, was just compassionate. I had one lady from First Bank that I contacted yesterday, and she actually said to me after we got off we finished kind of talking about freezing my assets and everything I had to do. She says, now I don't want you to go down this emotional roller coaster that it was your fault. She actually it's almost like she was a psychiatrist. Like, she sat there and says, like, she kind of knew, I think probably from other people she's worked with, that it's so easy to allow yourself to judge yourself so deeply in that moment. And she actually reached out to me and says, don't do that. And I said back to her, it's really easy to do that, isn't it? Because I could feel it. So the trust became available as I walked through it. And I think the best thing I can answer in what Lisa was trying to ask is that we all have a different journey in that. But there's one specific virtue that will hold us together. And I think it's back to what Shauna was saying, and you guys couldn't hear this. It's the one I asked if she fell asleep or not. And she said she heard the word humility. And I think the humility of it, to know that, you know, I'm doing the best I can. That's all I got. I don't have anything else. I've got my heart. I've got the balance I've tried to work on so strongly over these last 30 years. That's all I have. But beyond that, I have the cosmos. I've got other beings, if you will, and other opportunities that are there for me to feed off of if I choose to. I have to choose. I can't, they're just not going to come in and do it. It's like I have to go into action. It's another universal law. I have to act. If I stay stuck in my mind, if I stay stuck in the doubt, then it's not going to happen. I have to rise above it in some respect. I have to look at it and say, you know, I could stay in doubt if I want, or I can take the next step and I can trust the person that's walking down the street right away and start recognizing and building myself back up again, because I'm going to say there's more people in this world that you can trust and less people that are going to try to take advantage of you. What the difference is I guess our own way of looking at our journey and saying, okay, it's kind of like what you said, Bill. It's like, this was perfect for me in the moment. Whatever happens to me, I've come to a place where I know it's perfect just the way it is. And that doesn't make it beautiful by any means, because this last couple of days was not a lot of fun, but the beauty of coming back to that place of trust again, that was really something. And these guys really sent me, man. I mean, they really took advantage of me big time, big time. And I allowed it. I allowed it. But boy, did I learn something through all this. And I got to say, I've got a stronger trust than I had before. Because I know I have people like you guys around me all the time. I have others that I don't even know that are going to be on my journey, but they will be. And I can trust in that. I know I can. And so that's the best way I can answer that. Yes. She was saying, can I still be in my heart and still have a radar for people who are out there trying to take advantage of me, if you will, or in any capacity? Yeah, anybody. Yeah, she's saying, can anybody do that? I say you can. You know, this is really hard for me to put into words, but I'm going to do the best I can. There was something there during this whole process that said everything is going to be okay. And it's a feeling. It was just absolute feeling. And I know it came from the depths of that place in my heart. I know it just was a feeling is the best way I can say it. So maybe that was the intuitive part. And we all have that. It just depends. I think maybe then they say something about it has to be developed in some way. We have to start allowing ourselves to open up more, not close down more, but open up more so that we have that trust, I guess, that intuitive. There was just something there that said, it's going to be okay. There is a moment where I felt I was on my phone and I knew that there was a possibility that they had taken over my phone too. And not as much as my computer, but because I had talked to one of these guys on the phone. They had connected me to somebody on the phone, supposedly from First Bank, and he wasn't. But then I had a feeling of, I'm going to hang up with this guy and I'm going to call First Bank. And it was just a feeling like something ain't right. And sure enough, if they had control of my phone, I could have dialed for Spank and it would have been one of them again, just somebody else. But as soon as the person answered on the other line, I knew it was okay. I could feel his energy. I could feel that he was legit, authentic, and he was. And so there was that intuitive feeling that, okay, this is okay. And boy, did they take care of me in that instantaneous moment. I mean, they really did. It was amazing. They just kind of went to work. And it was beautiful. And so I started using that as I even started calling the different credit cards that I had to call and all the people I had to talk with. And so the building of trust started to build up back again. And Lisa came back from one of her jobs to help me out because I was so ignorant at this whole thing. I didn't know what I was doing in some respects, of course. And she even said, let's go to my house. Let's get out of your Wi-Fi because they could take care of your Wi-Fi. We can use my phone to call these people. And we started doing that. And so little by little, I was gaining back my trust for everything around me. And eventually, everything worked out just perfect. I just got my computer back within a couple hours of this. And when I went over to Jeff Camus, who Bill, you know, and he had cleared my computer last night. And I asked him, so what did you find? He says, I didn't find anything. They didn't attach anything to your computer. In fact, he said, your computer is really a good computer. And he said, they don't have any logins on there. They don't have anything on there. I checked everything. I even put some extra stuff on there for you in case somebody's trying to get in. And I was in shock when he told me that. I was on the computer with this guy for 2 hours. And in 2 hours, for him not to have done something, maybe he was trying. Maybe the universe said, this is going to be a lesson for Tomei, but we're not going to allow him to control what's going on here. I don't know. It was a shock. And even Jeff said, yeah, I don't know. He said either they were that dumb or something else was going on. I don't know. But my computer was clear. I talked to T-Mobile yesterday and they said, no, your phone's clear. There's nothing to worry about. Really? I mean, this was a 3-hour deal between the computer and my phone of them controlling. I gave away my control to my computer to this guy for 2 hours. And he had done nothing. Well, they could read my bank account. They didn't get into my bank. Well, I guess you could say they did, but even the people at First Bank said there's ways for them to be able to read stuff, but there are safeguards in all these accounts that they can't get in. That's all she said to me yesterday when I talked to her. So anyway, we all have an intuitive push. We all have an intuitive something, spirit, that's part of that silence within us, that when we are in a dire strait, I believe it comes forward. If our minds aren't too chaotic, we might be able to feel it. If our minds are too chaotic, then maybe it might take some time. But it's all different for each one of us. So I'm not going to say there's any special answer for anybody because they're all on a special journey in their own way. But it's that intuitive guide to trust as best you can. And I would say, I could look at all the people here, I can look at you guys, and I can say, you know what? I know you have felt that before. I know you know what I'm talking about. It's just a choice of listening to it is what it comes down to. And that's up to each one of us. And that's where we start building up a trust, I think, for all of them. That good? That was a lot. So please. Guys want to talk about that or anything else that came to you during this channel? please share.
Last night, I listened to an interview with a man, I'm not remembering his name right now, but he's apparently pretty well known, who has done about 1,200 interviews with people who've had near-death experiences.
Ah, nice. That was it. What's it? Andrew Cheney.
No,
Was it Cheney? Okay,
no,
I'm just
it was
curious
not-
because
no, that was not the name.
okay.
He's written a book about it, but he's done, about 500 more since he wrote the book. What he said is that we do decide and plan the big events that are going to happen to us in our life. Not all the daily details, etc., but the general character of the big events. And I happen to believe that you had your biggest event when you got on this path. And this path is so strong and so powerful that it can't get penetrated. Okay? That, of all the other things that you might have done in service to Len, and everything you've done for all of us, all right, has put such a powerful core of energy, and I'm so glad the energy body came up. But it's such a solid core of incredible energy that it's impenetrable. With all the support that you have from whatever you call them, whether it's your group, your team, all your buddies, whatever all that is, whoever is talking to you, etc. Okay? It's all affirmation, it's all validation. And I think, I don't need to tell you. You just own it. Just own it. It is such a gift. It is such an essence. Okay? The light overcomes the darkness every time. And that's why the silence is just pure light. And it's just feeling and perceiving the pure light that's there.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
I can't wait to give you a hug instead of just looking at your beautiful face.
I'll shave before that happens, however,
Well, me too.
just in case. Well, so is your phone number still valid?
Yes,
Okay.
everything's still good.
I will call you and we will talk.
Yeah.
I've had my own astonishing set of experiences, one after the other, this last week and a half. And I'm still in recovery mode from one that happened this morning. So it'll probably be tomorrow.
Okay. That's all right. I think I'm in the same place, so.
Okay.
Recovery. Anyone else want to say anything? Share? That was a lot. Well, I look so forward. I know we'll probably have one more of these before the workshop. I can't say that. Just can't wait to see all you guys physically and be with all of you. This is going to be a heck of a weekend. Might have a 3-story building here by the time we get rid of all the energy that's me going up. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's really starting to build. So I really look forward to seeing you all. So thank you so much for being a part of this today. It was really wonderful. Be safe out there, guys, okay? See you.
Will do. Thank you.
But you can hit the recording.